Welcome, my friends. Welcome to my halls of madness, to the Red Chaos One channel, the home of web novels on the internet. I am your host, Red Chaos One. If you're observing my video, then please leave a like and subscribe to please the ancient ones. My intention is to reach 100 subscribers by the end of this year, and I will promise, in exchange, I will spend the rest of next year covering the BTS web novels and web comics that are coming out from Wattpad and Webtoon. Now, as I have mentioned before, or if you're new to the channel, this is the first time I'm mentioning it, I am a web novelist, and my web novel, Phantom Drake, is an action high fantasy story with sci fi elements that you can check out in my description below. It's found on Wattpad and Royal Road, though I recommend the Wattpad version because that's the version that I am currently editing. So it's the most updated version of my story. Now, our story has arisen from the charnel pits of webnovel.com. It is Saint Christopher's Belly by Tony T. It is a story that will take us into the realm of Lovecraft and the abominations of the great deep. As always, I will go into the synopsis of the story in order for us to properly understand it, because as I am aware, my mad ramblings might not be enough to convey the story. In this cosmic horror, witness Fausto's odyssey through the dark labyrinth of the human heart and discover the cause for the strange happenings taking place in St. Christopher's Ridge. Recently heartbroken and looking for comfort, Fausto Marello meets a childhood friend at their local bar for a couple of drinks to forget about the world. The night was supposed to end like any other night, passed out in his own bed and waking up ready for work. However, during this night, he begins to experience traumatic dreams of violence that uncomfortably feels more like memories. Another life that he was unaware of. To make matters worse, a strange phenomena begins to take over his quiet seaside town of St. Christopher's Ridge. At the tone of a siren, people begin to disappear into the night, only to return in forms that don't resemble themselves, nor appear to be human. As is to be expected from my at times unnecessary reviewing of the synopsis, I am going to wax poetically here. If we look at this synopsis, we can see that it follows the sweet spot of not being too clustered to drive people off because no one is interested in reading a wall of text, or it being too simple and too vague and short that people don't get hooked into it. So it's a great synopsis that is doing its job. So if you want to look at an example of a good synopsis, look at this one, and you can check out all the other videos that I have done on my YouTube channel, review videos, in order for you to understand what I consider a good synopsis or my thoughts on it. So first things first, this story is written in the present tense style of writing. Now, I originally wasn't that comfortable with this style of writing in the past, but reading more web novels that handled it well have acclimated me to it, and this story, I'm glad to say, handles it well. This is just, a head up to those who perhaps are not used as I am to the present style of writing. And you might check out this story because it won't make you regret that style of writing. It's well integrated and it isn't at all amateurish. Now, writing wise, this story is well structured and edited. Now, as web novel writers with no editors, writing a clean story without any errors is hard. We have to edit it on our own, so whenever I find a web novel that has been well edited, I have to praise it regardless of the story's quality because trust me, my friend, there are some web novels which look like they were written by an alien without the most basic grasp of the human of the English language. And I can give you examples. Look at the earliest attempts at writing which I wrote, which I did, and I deleted them from my Wattpad a while ago. I mean, a long time ago, because they were awful. And just look at Wattpad, and you will see plenty of web novels which aren't well written. But it's not just Wattpad; you can find it on many other sites. Web novel, Royal Road. So editing is an important thing. It doesn't matter how great your story is in quality. If it isn't written well enough, no one will bother reading it. So a well edited story is good enough for me to praise. Now, character wise, the character writing in this story is great. In fact, it's put in full display during the first couple of chapters with Fausto and Paul's interactions, which really help build their friendship and their interactions with the characters around them, as well as helping to flesh them out more than most stories manage to do in 50 chapters. And more of this happens the rest of the story. The story is very good at its character interactions, and it's very good at building up these characters as three-dimensional people who you will like, who are very, very memorable to you, the reader. This story also has some very trippy imagery in it. Like, it really helps build the strange, otherworldly atmosphere that it's going for. It has some disturbing moments, which, well, if you have a weak stomach, might not be right for you. Like, I should give this as a disclaimer for people. This story has some horror elements. I mean, it's dealing with Lovecraftian elements, though, other than people punching out Cthulhu in fistfights, it goes for the dark and terrifying part of it. So, some disturbing imagery, like people getting burned alive, having their teeth and tongue cut out, and just some disturbing, horrible stuff happens. So, if you don't have the stomach for it, it's not right for you. And the abominations are just as well crafted as the tension in the story. And speaking of tension, pacing wise, this story is somewhat on the slow scale. It doesn't just blitz to the action, but builds up its own characters and its tension to get to it. It's not like most web novels where by the first chapter, the important story beats have already started. But I mean, stuff like being the slow burn that this story is with the characters and the tension of the story are important stuff, but it's only by around chapter 5 that you start to see some of the insane stuff that's going on in the story that gets Fausto's attention. And by chapter 6 or 7, I think, that's when you actually see your first. No, I think that must be chapter 10. That's when you see your first Lovecraftian horror in the story. It's a slow burn story for most people, but you won't really feel that slow. You won't really be bothered by that slow burn because a lot of it is dedicated to building up the tension, building up the mystery, and building up the characters. So, yeah, this is specifically what I have to say about this particular book. Saint Christopher's Belly, great book, great Lovecraftian horror. I'd advise you check it out. It's linked in the description below. So if you're watching this on YouTube, just go down and you can check out the book and read it. And if you're watching this on TikTok, you can go to my profile, which has my YouTube account linked directly to it. And from there, you can just go directly to the book, or you can, you can Google it, and yeah, you can, if you read it and you want to talk to me about it or what you thought about my review, you can come talk to me on my Discord or my Twitter, which are also linked below this video, as is my book, but I mentioned that before. And I'd very much like to hear from you. So my Discord or my Twitter, if you want to talk to me, are down there linked. Also, I have a question for you guys. I want to start doing reads for book chapters, and I'm wondering if any of you would be interested in that. So you can leave me a comment anywhere, from TikTok to right here on YouTube to my Discord or even my Twitter. I would very much like to hear from you. So yeah, this has been Red Chaos One signing off, ladies and gentlemen.